Can you imagine what it would be like to work for an organization that didn't have a purpose or a vision, no goals, just to come to work every day? Just not a really good feeling, right? Hello, everyone. My name is Frank Clark. I'm a student with American Military University in the management course 615 called Strategic Planning that is taught by Dr. Suzanne Menarson. I'm speaking to you from Universal City, Texas, just up the road northeast of San Antonio, and I currently work at USAA as a director in the Enterprise Security Group. This week's assignment is to discuss two strategic planning concepts. I wanted to take an opportunity to post a video instead of writing a paper. You know, many of us graduate students, we have spent countless hours submitting numerous writings, and what a great opportunity we have to put a name with a face. I can only hope that the time that you are taking by watching this video is value added, and to appreciate conceptual learning summary that I'm providing you today with a few sources that I was able to cite in my research and really have a better understanding on top of what I already had understood about strategy. The assignment is to address two concepts of strategic planning of my choosing, and I wanted to introduce those, why I chose them, and how they are incorporated into the strategy of my organization. The first concept I chose is goal setting, and whether it's goals explicitly, mission statement, a vision, an organization must determine what it is that they want to achieve, especially if revenue is precedent. We set goals to reduce or eliminate the discrepancy between where we are and where we want to be according to standards and values. And for me, particularly, it's core values. It's just like expectations for employees, and I'll definitely concentrate on that later in this video. But for them to clearly understand what needs to be done, you as an organization must understand what it must do. Not only is it a goal to have an effective strategy, you need your workforce, and you need them to have feelings of success in the workplace to occur at the extent people see that they're able to grow and able to meet challenges in pursuing and attaining their goals, and that they are meaningful and they're important. I believe the better we are with setting personal goals and achieving them, the better we are as a team in planning organizational goals. The second strategic planning concept I wanted to talk today about is the SWOT analysis, which is our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. This is the assessment we have and asking ourselves and being honest with ourselves, speaking of core values, of what our strengths and what our weaknesses are internally and what our the threats and the opportunities we have externally. SWOT analysis was originally developed as a strategic business planning tool. However, lately, it's been used more of a participatory planning method. Strengths and weaknesses are often internal to your organization, while opportunities and threats generally relate to external. We have to consider strength questions like, what advantages does your company have? What do you do better than anyone else? And what do people in the market, how do they perceive your company? Weaknesses, again, we'll have to be honest with ourselves, but they have to be considered and later be prioritized in efforts to fill gaps. But things to consider are what to improve, to avoid, and how others perceive any weaknesses you may have with your company. Brand and reputation is everything. And at times, if we don't identify and be honest with ourselves what weaknesses we have, and we don't incorporate those in our strategy, we're putting ourselves, in my opinion, in danger. So the evaluation of strengths and weaknesses is a clear approach to looking at what we are doing now and getting an idea of what is and what is not working. And so now that we addressed the two internals, let's talk external. Opportunities. Well, technologies and changes in government and changes in social patterns, they're all considered opportunities. And particularly with digital and strategy or digital and technology and what's happening in the acceleration of strategy. You know, we have drones. You know, who would have thought we would have had drones? You can develop new capabilities, fine-tune the organization to withstand new regulatory requirements, and of course, you can battle the market barriers by becoming more effective with social media. Now let's talk threats. And threats can come in all shapes or sizes, but for some examples, threats to consider whether it be our competitors from a revenue-generating perspective, whether it's changes in the industry and the economy, and particularly with technology. But the one you don't hear much about that's a concern of mine, and I found in some research, is workforce, the talent. I mentioned earlier how employees have to feel valued and have an understanding, and so they can perceive their goals. And so that's potentially not only an opportunity, but it can also be perceived as a weakness. So now that we have our two concepts described, I'd like to share with you how those concepts are applied in strategy in my organization. I don't have any exhibits today in the video. This is what you see is what you get. This is me. But I want to be able to say that from a CEO's priority is right about here, subordinate to those at the coastal level, which is a company and staff agency level. Those are where we have our strategic objectives. And then the departments that report to them provide deliverables. And then from those deliverables, we have units and all the work that's being done by our individual contributors. Those are our metrics. So that metrics are how we're doing it, what we say we're going to do, which maps to the objectives that tie into the CEO's priorities. And so that's kind of a taxonomy example of how goal setting, which is being done continuously, but primarily in our strategy, after our strategic and operational planning conferences, we develop strategic objectives. And then a SWOT analysis, it has to be conducted. And it's all very similar to how we conduct risks assessments, and we do heat maps. And so if I conduct these SWOT analysis to determine strengths and weaknesses and opportunities and threats, we're looking at everything. And I tell you that it's been very impactful for us as a company. And so I hope that I was able to shed light on two of the strategic planning concepts today and be able to share with you my insights into all that. I wanted to end with explaining how important all these concepts are, particularly the two I mentioned. This year we're able to develop a visual aid that will enable managers to sit with their employees and explain to them how they fit in the big picture. And too many times, often or not, employees come in and day out not understanding what it is that they see their job in front of them, but they don't see how it goes beyond them. They may see it at the tactical level, but at the operational strategic level, they just absolutely have no clue. And this visual aid was able to show and tie how the metrics, how the deliverables, and the strategic objectives all mapped up to the CEO's priorities. And it just makes it such an easier conversation for managers to have with their employees, enabling them to, towards the metrics, develop their own goals, their own personal goals, and what they want to achieve, which aids in their performance management. And so now, as the managers have those coaching opportunities and those conversations, it's easier to have development plans in place for employees once they understand how they contribute to the mission, which is the overall arching theme of what it is that the organization is trying to achieve. I thank you for your time. I greatly appreciate the experience I'm having with American Military University, particularly with strategic planning. Great interaction with the students and the professors is amazing. It's for doing this, being in the strategy, developing business for 20 some odd years, you think but there's some things you don't know. And it just goes to show we can learn each and every day. And I really appreciate what it is that I'm taking away from this course. And I just hope it'll make me not only a better leader and a better employee, but a better student. Thank you for your time, and have a great day.